Y'all, it is Crafty Hope here, and I am about to work on the Clean Slate Journal Challenge from Nina Fickett. This is a challenge Nina created, and once a month you jump in your junk journal and play. So I have a junk journal that I made as part of my Crafty Hope prompt, and Nina suggested that I use it for this series. So I've been doing that. I'll try to link to a couple of them maybe somewhere in the video so you can see what I've been making for this. I've really enjoyed this process. Some of my favorite journal pages lately have been made in this junk journal. So I opened to a new page, and I'm just working in front to back order in this so that I can kind of keep these pages in the order that I've made them, or the January through, what is it now? It's September. How? Anyway, so I started on this page. I did not like the colors on this. I think that's probably margarita green, and then the primary blue. Just, I wasn't feeling that brightness. So I'm covering it up. I'm starting with some collage. It's going to give me loads of texture. And I'm using an acrylic matte medium to lay it down quickly and basically just putting things down. Now, that little piece of matte paper I kind of was showing you was in a little glassine bag. That was actually something from Nina. I think Nina includes those little bags of ephemera in her orders, so I thought it was kind of appropriate to go on this page. But otherwise, for the most part, I'm putting down a lot of neutral colors. That's what I like to do because I don't know what my direction is. And I just didn't feel like that bright green and blue were the right fit for this page. Now, here in a second, I'm going to lay down a piece of, oh gosh, I don't even know what it is. It looks like it is cheesecloth that was placed on like a non-slip mat or non-slip surface and then coated in gesso and left to dry. It is this. I don't know where this came from. It could be anything. It could be some kind of hardware material or something else. I don't really know, but it is luscious. Nina may have sent that to me or somebody else. I am pretty sure it probably came from some Happy Mail from somewhere. And I love the texture it has created, especially over that dictionary page, because some of the techniques I'm going to do here in just a little bit, the dictionary still kind of pokes through from like the netting of that, and it's super neat. So I am putting down the last couple of strips to cover up that green and blue background here. I think this one gets a little fiddly. I'm trying to get it's part of a spiral notebook thing. I'm trying to get that little bit of the spiral ring fraying, whatever, to poke up at the top of my page. All right, so that is my page collage, or my pages collage, and I'm going to try it, I think, real quick. Oh no, I have that is the back of the photo booth that I did for my Crafty Hope prompts this past week. What was it? Week 48. Yeah. So that was the back of that, one of those photo booth images. Oh, and since I had that big block of texture there, I thought it would be really nice to put down a little bit more texture with some patternless sewing pattern paper. Tissue would work just as well for this, but that I had in my scrap box. So I made sure it was good and wrinkly and gave me loads of texture. And I'm going to take a good deal of time to dry that and then come in with some gesso and a brayer. Now, typically my brayer adds a lot of texture, but when I put this down, I realized I put down far too much gesso, and the texture from the brayer is not helping the texture that I've got going on over on that left side and then with the pattern paper. So I'm using a scraper tool to scrape off some of that excess gesso, which is also help revealing some of the paper in the background, especially like I was really loving that receipt on that bottom right corner. So from here, while the gesso is still wet, I've decided to bring in a spray. This is Steampunk Sepia. It's a Lindy's Stamp Gang spray. And I sprayed it, and I'm going to start drying it. I get it mostly dry. More than anything, I wanted the gesso to be dry. And then I'll use another Lindy spray, which is Bodacious Blush. and spray it down. And while it is still wet, I'm using a Distress Oxide in Uncharted Mariner, I think is it. And then once those are down, I'll add a little bit of water with my distress sprayer and start moving these things around. Now, my idea was to capture all that texture, and immediately you can see it so much better. So that was kind of my whole aim in using the sprays, was to pick up those textures. I'm going to do, of course, some splatter with whatever's on my paintbrush, and I will use a paper towel to pick up some of the excess where it's pooling in the crease of my pages. So also in collaging, I don't know if you noticed, it's where the center of my signature was, and I had my thread there, so I kind of covered that up as well. So there's a bit of a lump there, but the texture hides all of that. Now, I was inspired by one of my mini junk journal pages that I absolutely loved. I will, up in the right corner, I'll put a link to that whole journal flip through, but there was a page in there that had a lot of just texture and then some black marks on it, and I thought, let me do something like that again. So I'm using some India ink to just make these like big dashes, and I was gonna try to individually add water to them, but that just was going to take forever and not really give me an awesome effect. So instead, I grabbed that distress sprayer again, and I'm spritzing water in it. Y'all, some of these had this really neat effect of like where the color in the center was draining out, but the edges had already dried with that permanent ink. And so like the outline of these rectangles are there, but the ink is, it's really cool. It's something I definitely would like to play with again later. So I'm adding a ton of water, trying to get as many of these to drip as I can, and I'm catching the water at the bottom. This was a really long video. I know I've gotten this video down to like 15 minutes, but I've edited a lot of the drawing and thinking time out of this video. It was really, this page took me about 45 minutes, maybe a little bit longer to do. So don't be fooled that this was a 15-minute page. This was a lot of messing around, which was nice. That's what I like about this clean slate journal process, is that I don't have any prompts. I don't have a whole lot of direction. I just get in and play with where my inspiration is taking me. So I added a couple more marks there because I just felt like it was unbalanced in there, and I really wanted to see what the India ink would do in that texture I've got over on the right. I was missing some of that Bodacious Blush in there, so I added a couple more sprays of that, and then I'm going to dry this again, or start to dry it again, and realize I also needed some more of the Steampunk Sepia, so I'll do another spritz of it, and then dry everything again. I've got it's a Signo white gel pen that I am just kind of adding some highlights to each of those rectangles, kind of bringing their shape back into it with it. And now I'll admit I couldn't get the pen to work on all of them because of all the texture, and still, even though I dried these pages, there was still a bit of dampness to it. So the pen didn't work great on every one of these, but it's a little something. And it was something I had also done on that mini junk journal page I had made. So I thought, let me try this again. This is fun. And I stared at this for a long time, trying to figure out what I liked, what I didn't like, where I needed balance, what was missing, and I decided what I needed was some white acrylic paint. So I grabbed this forgotten bottle of Lucas titanium white paint. Y'all, I kept thinking I needed to go buy more white acrylic paint, and I forgot I had this huge bottle of it. So I turned it over and dumped far too much in my little palette over there. And I think what I ended up getting was the like top of it where it had separated, because this was a little gloopy. I've used this paint before, and it is a fantastic paint. So I think I was having issues with it because of my misuse of it. But anyway, I'm getting just a little bit of it and rubbing it across some of those creases and bumps and lumps and all the actual texture on there to kind of bring out that texture a little bit more with the white, so that the areas that have black on them or color on it are kind of pushed to the background. So it almost looks like that netting or cheesecloth or whatever it is on the left is on top of the black. And I also was feeling like some of the black in that lower right corner was like too black. Whereas you can see I've got the white gesso in the upper left, and I wanted some balance. And I probably should have just gotten the gesso back out again, but I really wanted to work with this white acrylic paint. So I am doing everything I can to get it, and it's reacting with the sprays. You can see that Uncharted Mariner is blending in there some of those Lindy sprays, so it's not getting a true white like I wanted. So I'm just kind of piling it on little by little by little, and finally was like, okay, just dry it now. Stop messing with it, because in one light it looked great. Like when I held it up, it looked good, but from an angle I could see the light reflecting on the wet. So it's like, yeah, just go ahead and dry it. And from there I knew I needed a focal, and a sentiment seemed to be just kind of the perfect thing. So I found this one. Oh gosh, what it says, be your own kind of beautiful. And it's a stamp that I have that I think was just stamped on some cardstock with some stays on ink, and is in my little, it's a little coffee tin of sentiments. And I thought it would be kind of perfect because it's nice and like a good size sentiment. But I knew it needed something else to it. So I'm going to ink the edges with walnut stain distress ink. And then I've got some cheesecloth that just white cheesecloth that I thought would echo that kind of textural cheesecloth that's over on that left side, along with the white that we've got going on throughout the page. But yeah, here I'm going to bring it out and just trim a little off. I wasn't even measuring anything or whatever, but I've got it trimmed down, and I'm going to fold it over like that. And that's kind of awesome, but it needed some kind of separation. I needed another little pop of black on it. So I reached in my scrap bin where I knew there had to be some black construction paper. And sure enough, there is some. So I'm going to tear it down. Nothing exact, nothing. And y'all, look, it's perfect. It's absolutely perfect. So I'm shoving stuff back in my scrap box, grabbing my Oohoo glue stick, which I'm going to stick the paper to paper there. And then I'll grab my Fabri-Tac, which is, as usual, gooked up just a little bit. This is all on me because I'm so and I'll put Fabri-Tac on to the back of that construction paper, and then I'm going to make sure that the cheesecloth is frayed a little bit, put that on to the construction paper. And then I start to put the Fabri-Tac on my sentiment, but realize it would be better just to put it where I want in the book on the flat surface. And then I will stick it down. And y'all, wait, do I add anything else? I don't think I add anything else. I think this is, no, that can't be right. There's got to be something else. I think this may be it. Oh, y'all, let's look together. I do think this is it, but I can't see. I can see how much time I have left in this video, and there's no way all that is taking up with just staring at this book. So, oh, yes, I did. See, I knew there was something else. I did something. I felt like I needed a little more movement and some doodles in there somehow. So I have grabbed a really basic mechanical pencil, and I am drawing some super sketchy lines from some of those boxes, either up or down in several places. And I love this really subtle element that when you look at it in these close-up photos I'll share with you in a minute, it is really neat. It almost looks like jellyfish, and those black lines also help give that kind of ethereal feel to it. So once I get those drawn, then I will be done with this spread in my clean slate journal. I encourage you to go check out Nina and what she made this month and play along as well. Make sure you use that hashtag clean slate journal and see what's going on. All right, guys, if you like this, make sure to give me a thumbs up. Hit that subscribe button if you're so inclined. And I will see y'all very soon with more art and jewelry and all the other things I make. If you want to see more from me, I've got all my social links below. Thanks so much for watching. I will see you later. Bye.